What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back, ready to talk about another team in their 24-25 season, because this is the Wall Street Hit My Line season review with the Chicago Bulls. And the Chicago Bulls had another mediocre season in 24-25, but there were some bright spots, and I think they're moving in the right direction. So obviously they were bounced out of the play-in the first set of games. They qualified for the play-in as the 9 seed. They lost in Chicago to the Miami Heat, who winded up advancing to the playoffs after they then defeated the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. So shout out to the Miami Heat, always overachieving as they have. But the Bulls have been kind of in this same range for a long time, kind of at the bottom of the play-in playoffs, and then they get kind of like a pick that's not really super high up, but it's in the lottery, like they're just kind of been there. But in the last year's draft, they picked Matas Buzelis, who was a big talking point in this video because I'm a huge fan of Matas Buzelis, and I think he has a lot of potential for the Bulls. A lot of potential. Matas Buzelis was picked 11th overall by the Bulls. He was projected to go like 6th overall in the draft, as high as 5 overall to the Pistons. And he slipped. He's from the Chicago area, and he got picked to the Bulls, had a very emotional draft night reaction. It was awesome. It was awesome to see, how happy this kid was to get drafted to his hometown team. And he said, he was ready to work, and he came into the season ready to work. So he really put his best foot forward, and he became a starter late in the season. Winded up starting 31 games for the Bulls this season, averaged 18.9 minutes per game, 8.6 points, 3.5 rebounds, an assist, 0.4 steals, and 0.9 blocks per game. And this dude's like 6'10", 6'11". Like, he's like a tall forward, right? But he plays more like a shooting guard. So he's extremely versatile. He can put the ball on the floor. He's going to be scary if he really can, continue to improve over the next 2-3 years. He's going to be an all-star if he continues to improve like rapidly like he did throughout this season. Early on in the season, I was like, I don't really know how this dude's how he's gonna do. He was kind of struggling from time to time, wasn't getting a lot of minutes. But I think he's gonna be a star in this league. Honestly, like he plays with extreme tenacity, plays with confidence, and you don't see that a lot for rookies. So exciting stuff if you're a Bulls fan for sure. So let's talk about some of these other players. Obviously, Lonzo Ball came back this season, missed the last 2 years with knee injuries. Big shout out to Lonzo. Incredibly tough journey to go through that recovery and just be able to come back and play. Obviously, he did not play a ton. He did not play up to, the standards that he's probably used to. But, nonetheless, he played 35 games this season, started 14 of them, 22.2 minutes per game, 7.6 points, 3.3 assists. He's going to have a long road to go, I think. He's not going to get back to the player that he was, at least for a while. And we'll see what happens. He did sign an extension, so he's currently under contract for next season, and then has a team option in the 26-27 season, both for $10 million each year. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, they might trade him. Who knows? I've heard a lot of rumors about him getting traded to Charlotte, so him and LaMelo can play together. I think that'd be super exciting. Just depends what the Bulls would get back for Lonzo at that point, if they actually want to make that deal, because the other guy that really stepped up and just played like crazy, just played like a madman this season was Josh Giddey. Specifically after the Zach LaVine trade, Josh Giddey really turned it up and just was doing his thing. He almost recorded like a quadruple double at one point against the Lakers. Josh Giddey has insane potential. Like, this dude can be one of the most unique players we've ever seen in the league. He rebounds with the best of them. He can score. He's not the best scorer, but he's improved steadily over his career. He passes the ball great, has great court vision, and he's a good defender. He gets a lot of steals, gets in passing lanes. So there's a lot to like for Josh Giddey. So I think the Bulls, they have a good young core. Josh Giddey's only 22. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent this summer. Just had the last year of his rookie deal this past season at $8.3 million. He's due for a big paycheck. So we'll see what happens there. I would imagine the Bulls are going to match whatever offer sheet he gets from any other team. They still got Nick Vucevic under contract next season, $21 million. So maybe they'll trade him in the last year of his deal. I think that would make sense. Obviously, they traded DeMar. I think DeMar DeRozan was a sign and trade, even though it happened during free agency. I believe it was a sign and trade, but I'm not entirely sure. But DeMar DeRozan is no longer there. That's the point. Zach LaVine was finally traded by the Bulls this season at the deadline. So is Vucevic next? He might be. Who knows? He's a good vet for the team nonetheless if they do wind up keeping him around. They also picked up Kevin Huerter this season via trade. They picked up Zach Collins this season via trade. Picked up Trey Jones this season via trade. Trey Jones is scheduled to be a free agent this summer, so who knows if he's going to be back. But I think those are all young players that could help this team. I like Zach Collins. He's under contract next season, $18 million. Kevin Huerter also under contract next season at $17.9 million. So they're not really paying huge checks to anybody. There's no one on this team making $40, $50 million. So they do have some money to spend. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to spend a ton of it. They are going to have a pick in the draft. Their pick is likely going to be the 11th or 12th pick. They're tied with the Mavericks for a 39-43 overall record. So I believe the tiebreaker sometimes is they just like flip a coin or something. I'm not really sure how they do it in the lottery. Or I'm sorry, that's outside the lottery. Actually, I don't know. I think maybe they split the percentages in the lottery. I think that's what they do. They split the percentages if you have a tied record. So you guys, instead of like one team having like a 3% chance to get the number one overall pick and the other team having like a 1.5% chance, it's like they even it out to like 2 something or whatever. I don't really know. I'm not great with math, guys, but it's going to be the 11th or 12th pick or something like that, unless they jump up into the top 4. Maybe they get the number 1 overall pick. Who knows? They don't have any picks outside the lottery. I thought they did. That's why I was thinking like that. So this team has a lot of potential. I think they got to restructure this team around Josh Giddey and Matas Buzelis. And frankly, Ayo Dosunmu and Coby White. I think Coby White is also a great player. He obviously was the team's leading scorer this season after Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine is no longer on the team. So Coby White put up 20.4 points per game this season, played 74 games, started all of them but one. There's a lot to like here. It's just, are they going to be able to rebuild in a way where next season they're improved significantly and they can be a top 6 team? Is that possible? Like top 6 team in the East and just make the playoffs outright? Or are they going to be bad enough where they can get a high pick, right? Because this staying in the middle, this NBA purgatory range is not good for any team. So I'm a big fan of what the Bulls have cooking right now. It's just, are they going to cook it right or are they going to burn it, right? It's like you got to figure out what you're doing. Or are you going to undercook it, right? You can take all that as you will, but you gotta cook things to perfection in the NBA. You gotta make it work with what you got, and if you can't, you gotta swap out those ingredients for something else. And that sounds kind of messed up, referring to players and systems as ingredients, but you catch my drift. I'm a big metaphor guy, so that's really all I got about the Bulls. I know a lot of you guys like the Bulls, so if you're a Bulls fan, holler at me in the comments. Let me know what you think about the Bulls. Let me know what you think about next season. Who should they take in the draft? What do you think is going to happen with this team? Let me know your thoughts. But that's all I got, guys. So stay safe, stay up, stay blessed, stay humble, handle business, stand on business. And I'm going to catch you later. Peace out.